Yay, yay, yay! It's Super Day, Super
Woohoo!
Days with Super Dave. And isn't it fun? Normally Super Dave is here all by himself. Well, of course, together with all of you who are watching. But now, I'm here with him because we love to grow and expand on this beautiful journey, this beautiful weekend. Dave attended
Yeah.
in the Abraham Hicks workshop. So awesome, Dave.
Yes.
It's so fun. And for all the
Yes.
people who are watching, yesterday we listened to Jen and Espen,
Hmm.
who were sharing their experiences. And today, well, it's your turn,
It
Dave.
is.
So fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
So,
doing this with me, Tineke. Like you said,
oh
usually
yeah.
it's just me, but
Yeah,
yeah. So this is fun. It's Super Days with Super
it
Dave and Tineke.
is.
So
Yes.
yeah.
So Dave, I know that you're excited. And before we
Yeah.
started this Facebook Live, I, s- I, s- I told you, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Very handsome, but also you look very, mm, how can I put it into words? You glow,
Oh,
you
thank you.
radiate, you ooze positivity, and
Oh, thank you.
your light. You shine your light brightly. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Tineke. I appreciate that. Yeah. Um, you always hear that saying, which is, it's the clothing that makes the man, but it's the man that makes the clothing. And I really feel it's that opposite way, which is that it's the energy. It's the energy that really makes
Mm.
what you feel that much better, right? But it really boils down to feelings. And I was sharing with you a little bit off the recording that, I used to be going for like, oh, well, what looks nice as opposed to what feels nice,
Yeah.
and that's a massive difference right there. So yeah, I appreciate the compliment, and yeah, I am oozing feeling good dingness. So yeah, it's fun.
That is awesome. And uh, for other people who didn't watch the Facebook Live yesterday, can you tell us a little bit about, who is Abraham? And, because this is the fun part of Best Life,
Yeah.
we are all different people and we use our own language, our own way of expressing. And it's so fun. Yesterday we heard it from Jen, but, I love to hear how you would explain it.
Oh yeah. So, and it's pretty funny too, Tenica, because you know, like Jen had kind of mentioned, Abraham's been around since 1985, but it's not that. Abraham's been around a long time. It's the connection to Abraham in the physical with Esther Hicks, who was Jerry's wife, was
Hmm.
established in 1985. And so think of Abraham as more or less like a collective consciousness of energy. And the
Right.
and the reason they chose the name Abraham is because Abraham is nothing more than a teacher, right? And
Hmm.
Abraham was a wonderful teacher. If you followed the Bible or any of those kind of teachings, that they were a very prophetic teacher of knowledge
Hmm.
and expertise and examples and things of that nature. And Esther had basically asked when she finally got connected with Abraham, well, what should I call you? And Abraham told her directly through her drawing with her nose while she was meditating, and that Jerry realized, I think you're drawing letters. So they, for a couple of weeks, they kind of figured out the alphabet happening through the
Hmm.
nose, which when you think about it now is so silly, right? Like,
Wow.
woo, right? Yeah, it's just so wild. And then when they realized she was spelling out, with her eyes closed, because this wasn't even still a point where Abraham was really speaking through Esther, right?
Right.
And then it was finally when they were driving around. This is after they were starting to get messages, and so every day she'd be doing this with her nose, and Jerry would be
Hmm.
translating, right? And then at one point they were on the highway, and there was these big, huge semis coming, and one of the semis was starting to veer into the incorrect lane of traffic, and she
Hmm.
got a message, and out of Esther Hicks' mouth went, "Take this exit." And she didn't know it at the time, but that was
Mm.
Abraham speaking through her. So they gently took the exit, and then they pulled over, and her and Jerry said they talked for many, many hours about that whole experience.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she said that she was in bed later, I think like maybe a week or a couple weeks later, and she was thumping on Jerry's chest, and she's like, "That's not
Mm-hmm.
me. That's not me doing that. That's Abraham." And so she's like, so Jerry was like, "Well, what do you think we should do?" And she felt inspired to grab a notepad, and on the notepad she just wrote down, "I want to write with you." And that turned into her getting on
Mm.
the typewriter and starting to, in an old-fashioned 1980s typewriter, have
Wow.
Abraham like pecking out, "We are Abraham, we want to write with you together." And then it just turned even more and more and more, and yeah, so that is who Abraham is, and now Esther has the ability to channel that energy and that communication through
Mm.
Esther's voice. But Esther gets on stage, right, and she's like, "Hi guys, we're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be so great." And she's like so light and bubbly, and kind of just like this little bundle of energy. And then when she
Mm-hmm.
channels Abraham, it's like, "Good morning," and you're like, "Good morning," because it's a different person, because it is. It's an
Yeah.
entity. It's that collective consciousness and that energy. So there you go. That's who I think Abraham is.
Wow, that is fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so beautiful to hear. And oh, I see Mansoor is here.
Hi,
Hi,
Mansoor.
Mansoor.
Awesome.
And I saw Valenza and
Hi,
Mary,
Valenza.
and oh, it's awesome.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Oh, yes. Doing
yeah,
great, Mansoor. I love how he always says
yeah.
Mr. Dave
We
Brisnehan.
love you.
Yeah. Oh, and
And
Espen's
Espen is
here. Hi,
here.
Espen.
Yeah, so beautiful. And
Oh, love
Mary
you,
says,
Mary.
"Oh, I'm so blessed to have you all in my life. Oh, we are so blessed with you. So
And Valenza's
beautiful."
here.
Yeah.
She's so good. Yeah.
So, about last weekend.
Yeah. Woo! Mm.
Wow. Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to hear all about it. Please
Well,
tell.
so
Please share.
yeah, so I think the first thing I could say is, this is not my first time now seeing Abraham live.
Right.
Esther Hicks, channel Abraham live. It's now the second time, because we had a chance to do it for our Best Life event, in combination with the workshop that happened in Denver, my stomping grounds,
Mm-hmm.
back in the end of May, beginning of June, and that
Yeah.
was the first time I saw Abraham. But what was so powerful was, um, every time you see Abraham, it's a different experience, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think I think one of the biggest changes for me, Tineke, was I kind of felt like the first time I saw Abraham, I was trying to feel my alignment, and this time I was
Right.
really enjoying my alignment, and that is such a different
Mm.
feeling, just enjoying the connection to my own unlimitedness and my own desire, and like you said, my glow, right? And I can feel that from my own
Mm-hmm.
perspective, that I'm glowing because I'm not trying to assert my alignment, right? Because there's lots of people out there
Mm.
that are like, enthusiasm is the way it is, and okay, but they get a little bit into this space where, and our beautiful Tammy Brown has said, in the act of trying to prove something, we disprove it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
there was none of that energy this time. It was just so phenomenal just to be there with, like, 1,400 other people, um, in the very front row, and Espen is right
Mm-hmm.
to the left of me. And I will say this: this was really fun, Tenica, because Jen didn't really mention it, and Espen didn't really mention it, because they were where they were talking about, but it was so fun, and for me, it was so validative. With everything that I do with our besties in Best Life as the director of
Yeah.
training, because it was like me and Espen, and then behind us was Jen and Scott, our CEOs,
Yeah.
and then to the right of them was our besties Emma and Chelsea and her friend. Um, oh my gosh, Jen, write down in the comments. I forget
Oh,
her name. What's her name? I'm already forgetting her name.
her
Ah,
amazing
her
friends,
amazing friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. But what was so powerful was, Abraham, in a group of like 1,400 people, they have this thing that's known as the hot seat, right? And
Yeah.
we were kind of talking about this a little bit, but to add some more clarification, it's a space that's basically sitting right in front of Esther when she's channeling Abraham. And so,
Yeah.
um, but imagine that there's 1,400 people, and Abraham's intention is to always pick the people in the group that are going to benefit the group the most, right? So,
Right.
so even though the person may have a their own singular desire,
Mm-hmm.
Abraham is always looking for the energy that's going to benefit the group the most, right? And
Yeah.
so I hope that that adds some clarity. But what's powerful about that is that there's only about 5 to 10 people ever chosen in these workshops,
Mm-hmm.
and our dear Espen was one of them, which was so powerful.
Yeah.
But what was really cool, and that they haven't talked about, was Abraham was looking right at us, right? So she was looking at,
Right.
Abraham was looking at me, was looking at Espen, was kind of looking, and Abraham did this gesture, said, "There's a lot of really good going on right here,
Yeah.
and it is you," and pointed right to Espen, and I was like, "Yes!" And it was so cool because it was like so validative that like Abraham was
Mm.
feeling, the alignment that
Yeah.
we put forth in Best Life, and
Right.
so oh, it was great just to
That
be
is
that,
awesome.
and then to see Espen go up there because he had such a desire to go up there, and
I know. I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it was incredible.
That is beautiful. And you're talking about alignment,
Yeah,
right? And in Best Life, we are talking a lot about alignment.
yeah, we are.
But can you explain a little bit more about it?
Sure.
What is it? What is alignment?
Sure. Well, so it comes from a principle that Abraham talks about frequently,
Mm-hmm.
from the teachings of Esther and Jerry Hicks and
Yeah.
Abraham, all that. But alignment is basically, from their perspective, this idea that we have ourselves and we
Mm-hmm.
have our inner being. And so think of it as like this non physical portion or energy that we're surrounded with all the time. And the way that we
Right.
tap into that, i.e., align with that, is
Mm-hmm.
by us feeling good. Because all the stuff that's in that non physical space is in that realm of satisfaction, right? We've heard about the
Mm-hmm.
idea of being like from love and light. Well, love and light is not going to ever be like annoyed, right? It's never going to be frustrated. It's never going to be in
Mm-hmm.
a space where it's like, why aren't you aligning yet? It
Yeah.
doesn't talk like that, right? And so their idea of alignment is that ability to be tapped in, tuned in, turned on to
Mm-hmm.
the connection, if you will, in the same way that Esther is connected to Abraham, for us
Right.
to basically be connected in our own sort of way to the universe and our own, you could call it spiritual guides, you could call it God, you could call it
Mm-hmm.
inner voice, inner child, intuition, collective consciousness, matrix. I could go on. There's a whole crap load of
Mm-hmm.
names to it. But
Yeah.
it's just
So
about,
true.
yeah, but it's just about feeling that energy and that connection.
Mm.
Um, but it's about really understanding that when you feel that, you can't not feel that anymore. And I know for a
Mm.
fact after June, because I was already starting to kind of feel it when we went to Kosovo
Yeah.
last year, which was
Mm-hmm.
so expansive.
Yeah.
Um, but to really know it and to really enjoy it, that really
Mm-hmm.
took place in June after our Align and Shine event and the Abraham
Wow.
workshop there. Yeah, yeah,
And it's so beautiful because it shows,
yeah,
when you look at pictures from you 3 months ago, and now it's a difference,
yeah,
so different. And that's beautiful because every day we're a new person,
yeah,
right? There is
yeah,
newness every
yeah.
day.
Every
Can
day.
you expand on that a little bit more?
Sure, sure. So yeah, and I just want to make sure first that what I said was clear as far as what
Yeah.
I talked about with alignment. Okay, so now you were wanting to know, like, can you expand on newness and like what we mean when we talk about that? Is that kind
Yeah,
of the
first,
question?
yeah,
Yeah.
first there is a comment by Jen,
Okay, great.
and let me check because I have to go to the other. Yeah, here
Yep.
she says, yes, feeling and finding your alignment by using your feelings, um, your internal guidance system. Yeah,
Yes.
so
So
true.
true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too is that understanding that our internal guidance system is really indicators of our feelings, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they talk about the analogy of like a gas gauge, right? So like if you had a full gas gauge, that's a good indicator that you know you've got plenty to gas to get around. And think of that
Right.
as your feelings. But I love the analogy that Abraham refers to that too, is which is that when your gas gauge is now empty, um, you go and fill up. You don't put like a happy smiley sticker over the
Mm-hmm.
empty gas gauge and be like, oh, it's not there. But oftentimes people do that with their feelings, right? Oh, I don't feel miserable. But the fact that they're
Mm.
even saying those kind of things means that there's some energy there, right? Or I'm not feeling
Right.
dissatisfied. No, I'm good. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good. No, everything's
Mm-hmm.
good. You know, right as rain. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more freeing and allows us to be more in that aligned space when we can just go, I'm not right as rain. I'm pissed. Or,
Yeah.
I'm not right as rain. I'm a little bit annoyed, but that's okay. And then
Mm-hmm.
move forward. Have that beautiful ability for us to just gently move forward. Because when we do that, we can gently move forward. When we don't, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And then maybe we do need to take a nap, or we need to do some deep breathing, or generalize out, or practice some
Mm-hmm.
appreciation. Something so that way we can basically, in essence, hold down that momentum of dissatisfaction. But if we can get out ahead of it, like those examples I was just giving you, it's so easy to pivot back into our space of our
Mm-hmm.
alignment. So yeah, yeah,
So awesome.
yeah.
So perfect. Well, and Dave, can I just ask a totally different question?
Sure, of course.
Because, we're talking about feelings, right?
Yeah,
And, um, well, the way I was brought up is like, well, feelings are not, you have to get away from feelings.
yeah,
Use your mind, use your thoughts, etc.,
sure.
because they are moving you forward.
Yeah,
And feelings was like forgive my language, pushish.
yeah,
It was like for
yeah. Right.
and we are talking about feelings the whole
We are.
time. So, from
Yeah,
your perspective, also for men when they are
yeah,
watching, because lots of
yeah.
men
Of
will
course.
say, feelings really.
Right.
Um, can you
Sure.
please share
Sure.
about
Well,
this
I
topic?
love how
Yeah.
you said that, there's this big emphasis and focus on, well, I need to think my way through this, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
and there's this idea that, they've it's an old thing that I don't really adopt anymore, but I'm feeling very inspired to say it in this way right now, which is they say thoughts
Mm-hmm.
are things. But guess what? Those
Yeah.
thoughts have feelings behind them. Every thought that we think has feelings behind it.
Mm.
And so, even for the guys out there, it's about really being honest with the thoughts that we're thinking, but more importantly, the feelings behind those thoughts. So, if we're like saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great, but the feeling is I'm pissed and I don't want to deal with this anymore, even though we said I'm doing great and we're putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of enthusiasm and, maybe goosing things up and being fake about, woo, we're attracting,
Mm-hmm.
because of those feelings, more of what we don't want, more of the things that are of a
Yeah.
dissatisfied nature. But when we can be honest, and that's the key, it's about really being honest with what we're feeling
Mm-hmm.
about the things we're thinking, then we can absolutely move forward. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a gal, it doesn't matter if you're new to
Mm-hmm.
this, it doesn't matter if you've been in personal development in a space where there's been a lot of pushing. It's about learning how to just relax and to just allow.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if that helps clarify it at all, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so true.
Yep.
And it's so beautiful because, and if you're watching this, you know, uh, just rewind a little bit because then you can l- listen to what Dave is saying and listen to the feelings behind it. Because when you speak, you can hear it.
Mm,
You can hear the feelings behind it. Because I don't know if a lot of people hear it, but the way you say it, you feel like, no, it's not great at all. When you say like, oh, it's great, but you feel like it's different,
yeah,
right? And that is
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. Yeah, yeah. And for me, Tineke, as a man, that was a big awareness for me when it was like, oh, I can be honest with what I feel. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to push and grind. I don't have to um, fake my way, right? I don't have to fake it to make it. All these things
Right.
that I thought, right? That's the key. I thought they were the way to being happy.
Mm-hmm.
None of it was. It was all stuff that's there's a lot of stuff on this planet that's about looks good and sounds good. but it's
Mm-hmm.
about really tapping into but what feels good. And it's what feels
Right.
good to you, right? What feels good to you, Tenica, is going to be different from what feels good to me.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different to anyone that's watching this or feeling this for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And that's what makes this idea of understanding our own alignment so fun and so freeing,
Mm.
because it's individual. It's like we're all
It's
from that same
beautiful.
source of love and light, but the way that
Mm-hmm.
you feel with your alignment is going to be different than the way I feel, and we can all wonderfully still be individual, but at the same time harmonize with everyone.
So
And
true.
oh, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. And I see some comments.
yeah,
I have to go to my other screen.
love it.
I see, well, Jen says, yes, always move forward. And see also, well, Espen says, oh, that is such a great example, Dave. So
Yeah,
thumbs up from Espen.
thank you, Espen.
And Jen says, be honest with what you feel, acknowledge, then them then reach for the better feelings.
Yes,
Yay!
yes, that is the key. Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah.
you got to acknowledge what you're feeling, but then it's like, okay, because that's the thing where I see guys get trapped up too. Is they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm acknowledging it, but then they think they need to digest it. They think that they need to write a dissertation
Mm-hmm.
on it. They think that they need to write books on it, and all that does is create more and more resistance and more of what we don't want. So it's about acknowledging it briefly and then moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. But we have to also acknowledge what we feel when we feel it. Guys and girls and all of us, because when we do that, then we're not going to be sort of embroiled in this, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Almost like a pool of dissatisfaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I'm just kind of wading my toes in it, and it doesn't feel that bad. It's like, yeah, but you don't want it, so you don't have to put up with it. It's that one story of, do you remember the story of, and I know Kevin Trudeau said it first, but it's still a great story and very apropos to what we're talking about. It's the story of the dog, and they're on the front porch, and the dog is
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there, and every once in a while it goes, hmm. And Kevin goes, what the heck's wrong with your dog? And he goes, oh, he's laying on a nail. And he says, well, why doesn't he move? And he goes, well, it doesn't hurt that much. And it's just so
Mm-hmm.
nice to know that we don't have to have things hurt that much before we pivot. Like, the
Yeah.
second that there's any sort of dissatisfaction in my life, guess what I'm doing, Tenica? I'm shifting into what would feel a little bit better. And not by trying to think about it, because I know.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're aligned too, we're wonderfully thinking from a space of unlimitedness too,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to limits, which is amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So more expansions from last weekend. What do you love to
Oh,
share?
I think one of the coolest things about both, because I felt it the first time, and I had heard about it from Jen, because Jen went to the one in Chicago, and then we had a couple of our
Yeah.
our besties go to the one, as well. Leslie and Michelle went to one, and you know what I mean. So it
Mm-hmm.
was,
Yeah.
Abraham was in the air. We'll say, right.
Yeah.
And I had heard Jen mention this, but to experience it twice firsthand is so wonderful. Which is, there's no hype. What I mean is that when
Mm-hmm.
you get in that room of 1,400 peoples, it is not like your typical personal development. Now, and again, everything
Right.
that's happened, I love everything that I've been a part of, right? I love the private success club I
Mm-hmm.
was a part of. I love all the
Yeah.
teachings I was a part of. But it's so good to know that with Abraham, there's not this goofy hype. You're not going to go in and have
Right.
people like standing up and asking you to dance and like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just comfortable. Yeah, they've got
Yeah.
music playing, and yes, there are people standing up maybe and having fun, but they're not going to be begging anyone to have fun with them. They're allowed to do
Right.
what they're allowed to do. We're allowed to do what we're allowed to do. Therefore, we're all allowed to do
Mm-hmm.
what feels best to us. And then Esther comes
Yeah.
on stage, and everyone oftentimes gives her, a rousing, standing ovation.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abraham, in essence, enters the building,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel it. You feel that energy, Tenica. It is one of those things where I know there's a lot of people that follow like Abraham teachings on Facebook, right? And I'm even part of like
Right.
a Abraham Vortex group or something like that. It's over like
Yeah.
120,000 members. And I will say, listening to the audios and reading the books pales in comparison to seeing Abraham in person,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a different, full-fledged, full
Yeah.
body, full spiritual experience, and Abraham's intention is for everyone to feel their alignment,
Mm.
but not for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds like we do in daily meditations,
Yeah.
for like 3 hours, like, and
Right.
so it is like I said earlier, like once you feel your alignment, you can't not feel it. So
Mm.
it's almost like it feels so good to know that my normal Tenica is joy. And if I'm not feeling joy, I'm like, I'm out of alignment. This is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This feels so good to know that it doesn't feel good to feel good, or doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't feel good to not feel good.
It does.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Yeah.
energy came across, but my words were a little bit, but like that's so freeing to know that
Yeah.
and to feel that. Yeah,
And probably also that you now you know the feeling, right? To be in
yeah,
alignment. So it's
yeah,
easy
yep,
to feel when you're misaligned and to
yeah,
shift.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think the thing is that when you can really be gentle with what you're feeling too, um,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to be in a space of your own alignment longer too. Because that was a thing that I kind of had a little bit tricky with ness when I was starting to feel my alignment, which is that I'd feel my alignment, and then like so often we've been led in personal development, I'd beat myself up like, oh God, I should
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
should have known that. But that doesn't do anything except
Mm-hmm.
create dissatisfaction. And then when I could just go, or not
Mm.
have an overactive mind, right? There's still that really funny story where I was still filling this out and I call up Jen, how do I do it? Okay, Dave, why don't you just, like maybe take a deep breath? Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna take a deep breath right now. I'm just gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Any second. Doing it. It's
Mm.
like, how are you now? You know, I was noticing that I was a little bit out of alignment there, and I'm feeling it. It's like I was a different person because I was. I was just back to being who I truly am. So, but we all have this ability, Tenica. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's within all of us. You
Yeah.
know, and passion from an aligned space is so different than passion from a misaligned space. So,
So true.
yeah,
Yeah. And, well, for everyone out there, and maybe maybe you don't know, but, in Best Life, we have daily life classes, which are amazing, phenomenal, awesome. And, they're helping all of us to move forward. So yesterday, I heard you, Dave, in the releasing and uplifting call,
yeah,
talking about general,
yeah,
to shift. Can you, because I know people are watching this and they love to know how
yeah.
can you shift, easy.
Oh, yeah.
Can you please share about it? Because I
My
was,
pleasure. Yeah, it'd be my pleasure, Tenica. I think one of the biggest things is that there has been this training out there in personal development world, you could say, that when you're feeling dissatisfied, then you need to specifically know what you want.
Mhm,
But that's too big of a leap. It just is. And what we have found through, obviously the teachings of Abraham and some incorporation of some other things that we've best lifeicized, is the power of just being general. Just
right.
what would feel just a little bit better. And it's so powerful. So like I'll give you a real life example. Like if there's like a lot of dissatisfaction going on in your life, like I'm frustrated
Mhm,
with this and my relationships are this and even doing something as general as just taking a couple deliberate deep breaths and then maybe
mhm,
saying a statement like, well, energy is everywhere, or well,
mhm.
my whole world is filled with vibrations. See, those are true statements, but
Yeah.
they're also really general. And that's how you allow yourself to give yourself that freedom and ability to now move
Mhm,
forward. And oftentimes, what I found, not only from working with others, but in myself, if I ever have gotten to, and it's been a long time since I've been in a space where there's been that much dissatisfaction that it's built up into a
mhm,
momentum like that. But when it has, I had said, statements like that and really felt that out there, really, really general like that.
mhm.
It was so easy for me to pivot into something that did feel a lot better. automatically, not by thinking about it, but because I felt
Right.
inspired to say it, or I'd be like, yeah, there's a lot of energy going around. You know what? That's right. I'm the deliberate creator. Okay. You know what feel better? I'm going to go get some ice cream, right? Or I'm going to go for a drive, or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I think I'm going to take a nap, right? It's so funny, right? We're probably one of the only personal development companies out there that condone and, are like,
Yeah.
take a nap,
Yeah.
because we know the
Go
power of it.
on.
It's not that we're saying
Yeah.
for people to be lazy. It's to show that there is one. It's a wonderful gift, in addition to like the freedom release method and
Mm-hmm.
practicing appreciation that allows you to, like I said, pull down that momentum if you're noticing that there's a lot of dissatisfaction going on in your daily life, and it's
Yeah.
something that we teach in Best Life. And again, like I said, we support naps, so because they're
Mm-hmm.
very
Big
powerful.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But anything to get
So,
into that space of alignment is
yeah.
powerful, and we support.
Yeah, so true. So also to know uh, what helps you to move forward, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you loved your cat. Maybe you love to dance. Maybe you love to, have some ice cream or have a drive or a
yeah,
walk or, yeah,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
It is.
Oh, so fun.
I know. I
Yeah,
know.
and
Oh,
yeah, and for everyone out there, isn't it fun to listen to all the teachings daily? But we're doing it together.
yeah,
Dave is the director of training, and he is doing a phenomenal job, really phenomenal. Uh, and and also because we're in it together,
yeah,
you know, um, that is beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think you nailed something right on the head right there, Tineke, which is that we are all in this together. It's something to be said that with the way that myself and Jen and Sue and Ali and all of our beautiful
Mm-hmm.
instructors, Tracy and you and Espen and Julie and Jamie and Tammy. I think what's so
Mm-hmm.
powerful about this is that we're all co-creating this together, right? There's not
Yeah.
one um, person with all the rules and all the answers and all this stuff that has been seen even in certain
Mm-hmm.
teaching capacities. It's about really tapping in and helping people find their own alignment. And like you said, we're all in this together. We're
Yeah.
all wonderfully co-creating this together. And the reason I do what I do for all of us as well as the besties is I get such a thrill of seeing people feel their own unlimitedness. Because like I said, I know
Mm.
what it feels like when I feel mine. So when I feel other people feeling
Right.
theirs, I'm like, I get as giddy as a little kid, you know? And it's fun too, right? Because there's that playfulness, there's that silliness, but more than
Mm-hmm.
anything, there's that genuine love that we
Mm.
feel for each other,
Yeah.
no matter where we are in this beautiful physical journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So, well, we're nearly going to wrap it up. But
Perfect.
let's because I heard the word pleasure many, many times. You were all going on about, well, that was the fun word of this weekend.
Yes.
Please tell
Pleasure.
us about
Well,
pleasure.
yeah. So Abraham's expansion was when it comes to like when we're in the space of creation, right? When we're in that space of manifesting. Oftentimes, a place
Mm-hmm.
that hangs people up is they're like, "Yes, oh my God, I did this. Okay, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got to do it again." And right
Mm-hmm.
there, instead of focusing on the pleasure of creation, they start to focus on the power of their creation. Which, guess what?
Mm.
We all are inherently powerful. But if we start to put our focus on how powerful we are, that's where we can potentially pull in doubt. And I've seen it happen for myself in my life, and I've
Mm.
witnessed it happen in others. But when we really go, oh my gosh, this feels so good. Ah, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, more to come. I mean, even the way that I'm speaking that, there's a gentleness in that, right? There's more of a flow. There's not
Mm-hmm.
such a rigidness. There's not such an abruptness. There's not such
Mm-hmm.
a maybe a force of enthusiasm as opposed to just this beautiful flow and gentleness. And so Abraham's approach was like, really, when you're in that space of creating, enjoy it.
Right.
Because so oftentimes people try to rush it, like, okay, now that I've manifested this, okay, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like just enjoy it. When you do that,
Mm-hmm.
you will be presented with the next thing to manifest every single time. Every
Beautiful.
single time. Yeah. So
And and
pleasure.
and let's, yeah, let's experience it together, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's ask everyone to just sit down
Mm,
comfortably,
I love that.
and can you please let us feel the difference?
Sure.
Are you okay with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. So I take it you would like me to give you an example of just that pleasure
Well,
feeling?
or maybe, yeah. When you were talking about pleasure, just do it
Yeah.
again, and just for everyone, just focus on how it feels inside,
Perfect. Yeah.
and then or probably do the power first.
Okay.
We end with the
Yeah.
pleasure.
I
Let's
like
do
that.
that.
I like
Yeah.
that, Tenica. I love where you're going with this. This feels really
Yeah.
good. Okay, so yeah,
Hmm.
oftentimes people when they're feeling really good, they're like, "Yeah, man, I feel so good. And this is
Mm.
great." And I just, man, okay, more to come, baby. You guys feel that?
Mm.
That's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't feel
Oh.
good probably. And if you left, I
Mm.
apologize. It's okay. It's all
Mm.
good. Cuz now I'll
Yeah.
move right into the pleasure space. Cuz
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah,
Because pleasure
please.
is more like this. Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel so good. Things feel
Mm.
so good. My life is so good. Everything in my business is rolling. Like, everything keeps getting easier. Everything in my life is easy, and some things are easier than others. There's just so much playfulness
Hmm.
and lightheartedness with everything that I do in my own life. There's just this
Hmm.
sense of like stability and understanding my own alignment and the ability to understand that, like, if contrast comes, it's okay, it's all good, because I can pivot and I can move forward from it in such a space of just gentle satisfaction. And yeah, that is just so pleasurable to me, Tenica, to just have that freedom
Oh,
to know that. So there you go, a little different feeling, would you
yeah.
say?
Oh, well, yeah.
Much different.
So different. So different.
Yeah.
Really. It feels, for me, I don't know how about you. Please share in the comments how you felt. For me, Dave, the first bit, it was like I felt actually, my throat was like closing,
Hmm.
and I felt like, to protect myself.
Okay.
When I felt that energy. When you were
Right.
like in a pleasure, it felt like, oh, it's flowing out of me
Yeah.
so easily.
Yeah.
And it was such a delight because,
Yeah.
it felt like freedom, it felt
Mm.
flowing, but also so supported,
Mm.
very soothing and very supported.
Awesome.
Um, yeah.
Mm.
And I bet you all felt it. This is also a very fun example in, the different feelings, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, if you're not used to trust your feelings, just play with it and just do this fun exercise, and then you check how do I feel, and how does
Right.
it make me feel, and what feels better. And it's so playful it's so fun to explore it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, awesome.
Woo.
Wow. And we can talk for hours and hours and hours. It's so fun. And Jen says, pleasure is so freeing and in alignment with who we really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she added so many fun comments. But read them all,
Yeah.
And Espen did as well. He said, relax is your pleasure. Relax in
Mm.
your pleasure. So much expansion in there.
So
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, So fun. Well, we will be back. Maybe we will expand some more this week. Have
Yes.
some more Facebook Lives. Please join us all, and also, join us in the workshops. But if you want to be a member and you want to experience this daily and to grow and expand with all of us, oh, you're so welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to join.
Yep.
And yeah, well, I loved it,
Me too, Tineke. Thank you so
Dave.
much.
And
This was great.
thank you all for watching.
Yeah, this was
And
great.
yeah, beautiful.
So, so good.
So for yeah, so for now, well, stay aligned. Focus on your feelings and enjoy and have pleasure.
And make your
Thank you
best life the
so
best
much,
life.
Dave. Yeah, yoo-hoo! Oh, that's a fun dance.
Thanks. Just do it with my head.
Awesome.